You know that moment when you walk into a room and something feels off? People are polite, maybe even kind, but there's distance, an invisible wall you can't seem to cross. You start replaying conversations, analyzing your tone, your posture, your words, and the more you think about it, the heavier it feels. This quiet fear that maybe you're just not the kind of person people like. We all want to be seen, accepted, understood, not loved by everyone, just not invisible. Yet for many of us, it feels like the world keeps turning without us. You try to fit in, to be nice, to adjust, but nothing changes. Eventually, you start to believe something's wrong with you. But what if it's not that people don't like you? What if they can't see you? Not because you're invisible, but because you've learned to hide too well. Rejection rarely starts with strangers, it starts early in childhood. Maybe love was conditional, emotions unwelcome, or sensitivity mocked. So you learn to be quiet, agreeable, careful, to earn connection by shrinking. It works for a while. People don't dislike you, they just don't really know you. Because when being authentic once led to pain, you stop showing your real self. You build a version that feels safer. One day you realize no one truly sees you because you've stopped letting them. You think people don't like you, but they just don't feel you. You've built invisible walls that keep out rejection and closeness too. When we fear rejection, we start pre-rejecting ourselves. We enter every interaction guarded, scanning for signs of disapproval. Our brains evolved to treat rejection like danger, so even silence feels like judgment. You tell yourself not to care, but you do, and that caring makes you hyper aware of every glance, pause, or tone. You start to move differently, softer voice, fewer smiles, avoiding eye contact, and people sense that. Humans mirror energy. When you expect rejection, they subconsciously mirror your uncertainty. That's how fear becomes a loop. You protect yourself so well that no one gets close enough to prove you wrong, and every time someone pulls away, it feels like proof you were right. But it's not proof, it's protection. You may find yourself over explaining, apologizing too much, laughing when you don't mean it, all ways of trying to be accepted, but it sends the wrong message. It tells people you don't trust your own worth, and people are drawn to presence, not performance. Real connection starts when you stop performing and start allowing silence, allowing imperfection, allowing not everyone to like you, and being okay with that. Because here's the truth, the more you need to be liked, the harder it becomes to be loved. Needing approval makes you shapeshift. Say yes when you want to say no, smile when you're hurt, hide your truth. People can feel that disconnection. They don't dislike you, but something about it feels incomplete, like talking to someone who's half there. What makes someone magnetic isn't perfection, it's presence. It's calm honesty, the energy of a person not trying to be impressive. That quiet confidence says, I'm comfortable being seen, and people relax around it. If you grew up in rejection or neglect, your nervous system doesn't relax around connection anymore. It scans for danger, prepares for disappointment. That protective state keeps others at a distance. They feel it even if they can't explain why. That's the cruel irony. The fear of being unliked makes you act unapproachable, but it's not your fault. You learned early that love wasn't guaranteed. So you learned to earn it or survive without it. Now, it's about unlearning that, because people don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. Sometimes you push people away by being too quiet. You think you're being polite, but your silence becomes distance. Other times you talk too much to fill the air, afraid of rejection, hiding in silence. Both are protection, not personality. You might overgive, saying yes when you want to say no. You bend yourself small to be likable, to feel needed. But overgiving breeds imbalance. People start to feel they can never repay you and drift. You smile, but your eyes stay guarded. You laugh, but something in you is watching. You're visible, but untouchable. Afraid of being known because the last time you opened up, it hurt. So you stay behind the glass. None of this makes you broken. It makes you human. Afraid that if people saw your unfiltered self, they'd turn away. But hiding doesn't protect you. It just hides what makes you lovable. You can feel it when someone truly accepts you. When you say something raw and they don't flinch, that exhale, That's what connection feels like. Safety, not performance. Most people who feel disliked aren't disliked, they're misunderstood. They've adapted so much that their real selves rarely show. They laugh too loudly, apologize too often, deflect every compliment. They've mistaken invisibility for safety, but safety without intimacy is just loneliness disguised as peace, and you can't connect deeply when you're constantly shrinking. People mirror your permission. If you're guarded, they stay polite. If you're honest, they relax. If you show that imperfection is safe, they open too. Connection doesn't need perfection, just presence. Not I'm perfect, but I'm real. That kind of honesty requires quiet courage, the kind that says, this is me, even if you don't like it. And not everyone will. But that's the point. Once you stop trying to please everyone, you start attracting the ones who can meet you as you are. The ones who don't flinch at honesty, who don't need you to shrink. You start to see rejection differently, not as failure, but as alignment. When you show your real self, you naturally stop fitting into places that only accepted your mask. People who think they're unlikable are often just tired of pretending. They've spent years managing others' perceptions instead of being themselves. The work isn't to be more charming, it's to be more you. And maybe people will like you more when you stop trying to be likable. Because authenticity has a quiet magnetism that performance never will. It says, I'm safe, I'm honest, I'm here. But it takes unlearning. You'll notice yourself still people pleasing, apologizing, withdrawing. That's okay. You pause and ask, what am I afraid will happen if I just be myself? That question is the doorway to freedom. You don't overcome rejection by trying harder to be liked. You overcome it by becoming so comfortable in your truth that rejection loses power. The goal isn't to be liked by everyone, it's to be known by a few deeply. Eventually, you get tired of analyzing yourself, tired of shrinking. You realize you can't control how people see you, only how you see yourself. That's where confidence begins. It's not in tricks or techniques, it's in safety. When you feel safe inside yourself, others feel safe around you. That's the invisible magnetism of authenticity, the calm energy of someone who's no longer asking to be chosen. It starts small, noticing when you tense up, when your tone shifts, when you apologize for existing. You begin to ask gently, what am I afraid of? And the more honest you are, the less scary it becomes. Because truth brings light. You realize you've been trying to earn what should have been unconditional acceptance. And when you stop chasing it, you start relating instead. You talk slower. You look people in the eyes. You say what you mean. People notice. They feel you're no longer performing. You set boundaries, not out of anger, but peace. You say no without guilt. You stop staying where you feel unseen. Boundaries don't push people away. They teach respect. And as you practice honesty, you start attracting calm people, the ones who listen, who don't need you to perform. You realize connection doesn't come from charm, but from truth. The more grounded you are, the less rejection stings. You stop taking it personally. Some people will find your truth refreshing, others uncomfortable. That's okay. Realness always costs false peace, but it gives you real connection. You learn to stay soft without overgiving, to care deeply without losing yourself. That balance takes time. You'll still feel doubt, still hear the old voice saying, you're too much. But now you breathe through it. You stay open anyway. Because love, real love, can only reach you when you're open. You notice how your energy shifts. You no longer scan rooms for rejection. You just exist. You laugh without rehearsing. You walk in belonging, not because everyone welcomes you, but because you do. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet belonging. It's walking into a room knowing you deserve to be there because you're human. You stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, do I feel good here? That question changes everything. You give others the same grace you needed. You stop assuming silence means dislike. You stop taking things personally. You realize everyone fears rejection. Everyone wants to belong. That truth softens you. It makes you kinder. You start speaking slower, from presence, not performance. You realize the most magnetic trait in anyone isn't charm, it's peace. People like those they can relax around. You don't have to impress anyone, just make them feel safe. By being safe with yourself, over time you start to feel ease again. You stop rehearsing who to be, you walk into rooms without armor, you start belonging everywhere, not because everyone accepts you, but because you accept yourself. That's the full circle. The love you were looking for was never out there, it began here. When you stop rejecting yourself, the world softens too. People don't need you perfect, they need you present. They don't need you certain, they need you sincere. They don't need you loud, they need to feel you. You stop calling yourself awkward or unlikable. You start saying, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm opening because you are. You're becoming visible again, not loud but alive. And that quiet aliveness draws the right people like light in a dark room. There will still be days when the old fear returns, but now you know. Someone's silence doesn't define you. You're not that child trying to earn love anymore. You are whole, evolving, enough. So, how do you become someone people like? You don't try. You become someone people feel safe around because you've made peace with yourself. You stop performing, stop proving, you just exist in truth. And truth, even quiet, is magnetic. That's the beauty of it. When you stop chasing acceptance, you start attracting authenticity. And that's the kind of connection that doesn't fade when you leave the room. Most people aren't avoiding you. They're just too busy fighting their own battles to see how much you're hiding yours. But the moment you let yourself be seen, even a little, life starts to see you back. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need a few real souls who recognize you, and you'll find them the moment you stop hiding. Until then, be patient. The world has a way of finding the ones who are brave enough to be real.